Alright, so I've never really made a video like this before. In case you don't know, I usually make videos on other people or other things or food reviews. However, today we're going to be switching it up and making a video myself and what I've done in the past and my regretful decisions on youtube.com/AndrewIG. Our disclaimer is this video is probably going to be like more towards the negative side. Not exactly really depressing or upsetting. It's just I'm going to be shedding more light on the negative things about my YouTube quote-unquote career and maybe being a quote-unquote YouTuber. I don't really think I'm any of those two things, but by definition, I sort of am. So I'll say, in the past I've done some pretty fucked up things that I should not be led away with. However, I have, and it's been eating away from me for like the past year and a half, 2 years. And I actually I want to shed light on some things, bring some things to light, and obviously apologise for it and explain my actions and why they happened. So I suppose if you really want to pull it back to the beginning of my quote-unquote channel, one of my biggest inspirations at the time was probably iDubbbz and his series Content Cop. When I first made my series Content Critique, I was initially compared to him quite a bit more than I probably imagined. There's people commenting about me being a Content Cop clone, even though there's a really vital difference between me and iDubbbz content, and that difference was that iDubbbz went out of his way to kind of make videos tearing down other people and shed light on their shitty decisions. So I got the idea to do that in probably about October 2017, I'd say, whenever the entire DesHD stuff kicked off. However, before the entire critical critique part of the entire YouTube scene, we should talk about the prelude to that, the content critique part, which essentially started as me trying to grow my channel.
What the actual hell? What?
And get more invested in the community. So I reviewed my good friend Double King, or Olivia. I reviewed her, and then after that I got a comment from a guy called Indy saying reviewed Daniel T Gaming. Now, I've already been familiar with Daniel at that point. I've watched his content, I've interacted with him, I think. However, the idea to review him was probably one of the most important or vital parts of my YouTube channel, or my quote-unquote YouTube career, as it kind of jump-started things. And Daniel, if you're watching this, I really thank you for being such a nice and positive guy. With Daniel's content critique, I was introduced to many others in the community, whether that be for good or bad. I'll touch on that in the future. So back to content critique and critical critique. But yeah, 2017, the first half of 2017 was a menagerie of experiences that were some of the best and worst times of my life. Talking to a plethora of new people, and it was a real eye-opener. And playing with my friends every day was the epitome of bliss. Second half of 2017, however, fuck me. The second half of 2017 was a hellhole looking back at it. Being toxic with real life friends, making friends with new people, different people, and the entire DesHD situation. Which brings us to Act 1, DesHD. There was a period in, I'd say September, October 2017, where I was getting ridiculed by a couple people online for being a Content Cop clone, or being an iDubbbz clone, and I had the brilliant idea to put all of that to rest. So I began making critical critique, DesHD, or Yentekers at the time. However, between that and me actually releasing it, Avery is whatever whenever, or Avery Alex, he uploaded a video looking at my content called Problems I Have. Now, prior to this, he actually made one earlier, and I did watch that one, but however, he uploaded a second one later that year, and that got me shifted from the main topic idea of making a video on Yin, and I had to kind of split priorities on what I actually wanted to do. So what happened was, I got the Yin video done, got it edited, and between all that happening, we had Exit TV join in, so I had to scrap the recording and do another recording on Exit, another good friend of mine. It's really weird, everyone I make videos on becomes friends of mine in one way or another. So I make a video on Yentekers, and after that we talk a bit, we kind of sort things out, and I'd say right now we're on alright terms, even though I haven't really talked to him in like, what, a year, 2 years. So yes, I made a video on Yentekers, despite other things happening. And then a video on, oh god. Looking back, the video on Yentekers was pretty terrible, although I still think it has some charm. The intro of the video is probably one of my favourite moments on my entire YouTube channel, and that is something that I proceeded to do in future episodes of Critical Critique. And after that video was released, me and Exit quickly bonded over both coming from the other hellhole that is Northern Ireland, and we also met up. It's actually insane to think that hate can cause a friendship, and the ironic part is, after the video dropped, me and DesHD talked it out and we were on good terms. So currently, even though it is near 2 years since that video came out, me and everyone involved in that video are friends. So in February 2018, my friend Christian released a video on DesHD, and I want to say, Christian, if you're actually watching this, which you probably aren't, that video in DesHD was your last big video, I'd say anyways. And goddamn did you leave an impact. We haven't really talked that much since then. In fact, I don't really think you like me anymore. That's fine. However, that video was a really amazing video in my opinion, and I really enjoyed it. So props to you. Getting back to things though. What came after critical critique? Oh, Act 2. Alright, this one will require explaining, but I won't go in depth about the backstory. Avery made videos on me previously and I was writing responses to those in October/November. Yes, Yen happened, so at that time it was on hold. But in March 2018, I was watching Avery with someone I was close to at the time, and we thought Avery wasn't really treating things with a lot of respect. So I wanted to add that into the response video. That response video eventually becoming the fateful video, Critical Critique Avery is whatever. Similar to the DesHD one. However, I thought I'd take a page from iDubbbz's book and be a lot more critical towards him. This was after the certain video. We released the video, and that night, me and several friends got into a call and watched Avery watch the video. At the time, it was actually pretty comedic and funny. However, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, it's actually kind of fucked up. With hindsight, the latter half of the video was really poorly done and slapped in. It didn't really align properly with the points I was making, and I was coming off needlessly aggressive. It was also the point that I didn't really understand what was actually happening at the time, and Avery was going through genuine problems. I don't really mean to put him on blast here, I actually feel really bad for it, and I've been needing to apologise for like the past 2 years. I've never really gotten around to doing that. However, I have mentioned the video's bad. It's just that my YouTube ego kind of gets in the way and kind of muddles things. However, during the time of the Avery video, I was going through a very weird phase, and I had a lot of pent up frustration towards certain people and certain things. So sadly, and I am really regretful to say this, I let out that frustration on Avery, which is really toxic to do. And I suggest if you're watching this video and you're making commentary videos, I suggest don't be a cunt, because you'll look back on it and cringe. Not even cringe, you'll hate yourself. So Avery, I want to actually give a really formal apology here. I'm so sorry for how I treated you in that video. It wasn't really my job to say certain things about that, and I should have kept it myself. I'm sorry I put you down like that. And you're probably asking yourself, why you not private the videos? That's because I think it's showing my growth as a person, learning and being a creator. After that, I was burnt out on YouTube, and I had a really bad breakup. Which led to the lowest moment of my life, where I harassed her and probably made some mistakes. If I can go back to probably 2018, I'd change a lot of things, and yes, a lot of bad things happened. However, I only have to accept that and accept what I did and kind of take the hits and roll on, and I can only accept the present. So the breakup, it explains the no uploads for several months. So in July 2018, I decided to give it a go again. Enter Act 3, and I began talks of making the next video. And with that, I decided to make a second video on Daniel T. To be honest, that period of my life was also really weird. I was getting into rugby, and I wanted to be really cool, so I decided to go after someone who'd previously been a really good friend to me. Which ironically enough, was me being really arrogant at the time, despite me calling out Daniel for being that. Me and Daniel T being on good terms affected how harsh I was in the video, so many would argue I wasn't going hard enough, especially just after the Avery video. So the Daniel video came out, and I made a duology into a trilogy, which I thought rounded out the series. After the video on Daniel, I did like making the series. The only problem was that I didn't know who to make it on anymore, as I had no other enemies, or so I thought, until August. Not that August, later August. So in September to December, I focused on my social life and my school, which was slowly crumbling before me. And with that being over a year since I released that video on Daniel, that video really just made me regret a lot of things. It also progressed me and Daniel's relationship, and we reignited a friendship that was dormant for a long time. Daniel, I do apologise for that whole narcissist thing. It was hyperbole on my part, and it was far from a doctor. It was my mistake for not mentioning that in the video. I'm sorry, Daniel, for being arrogant towards you and not making you feel like a friend of mine. I'm also sorry if I backstabbed you in any way. So, after the third video, that was booked closed, right? Sorta. After that video, I really wanted to focus on my GCSEs and get them over and done with, which obviously isn't over yet. So I noticed that I wanted to work on a social life, and I realised one fatal flaw that I had not noticed, and that was, I can't multitask. So in December I had an epiphany. That was, I wanted to make videos again, as I'd given up on a social life. At that time, an iconic man was making his mark on the internet, and that man goes by the name of BursterMFG. At this point, I didn't really want to make any more critical critiques. However, watching Twitter implode on Burster made me feel really bad for the guy, as he didn't really do that much bad. especially compared to the other member in the community. So I drummed up that the next video was on Burster. I was talking to Mark about Burster, and I joked about, hey, what if we made a video on Drake instead? And then Act 5 began. Act 5 is 2 videos. Critical Critique Burster, and the second video was on Drake Dragsaw. This is still relatively fresh, and I won't give a response to the criticisms mentioned in that video, because I was quite frankly not bothered, and I don't think it's the time or place for that right now. But back to those videos. The first 6 months of 2019 were probably the worst months of my life, by a long mile. But I won't get into that, just having family problems, and the pressure making a video on Burster/Drake, which was surprisingly stressful. That stress was self-imposed, however, so yet again, I take full responsibility for that. I'm not going to go into the full story on why I hated that time period in my life. However, all you need to know is, we got the 2 videos out, the Burster video led into the Drake video, and after that, it was all over. Except it wasn't. Although, to this day, Drake, you've changed quite a bit, and we're on kind of neutral terms right now. However, I still stand by a lot of what I said, and that's why I haven't really taken further action, or I feel nearly as bad as I do about the Avery video, because Avery didn't really deserve what he done, or what happened to him. Whereas Drake, I'll be honest with you, even as like a neutral person, you know, I still think you did relatively shitty things, and you done a lot of shitty things. Although that being said, it doesn't really matter about what you did, as long as you improve in the future. And that's kind of the main message of the video. I suppose this is the current situation I'm in right now. I don't really know what right now holds. I suppose you could say this video is the current place of my channel. I'd like to say in the future, there will most likely not be any more critical critiques in the same vein as the Daniel T or Avery or the Drake one. I'll probably be making them not on smaller creators, but rather larger creators. This is because with the previous ones, I kind of felt like I was bullying a creator, with example being Drake Dragsaw. He obviously had, 500 subscribers. Previously, Avery, he had about 400. I don't really think it's fair to do that, as I think it's kind of being disingenuous, being a bit fake, and kind of using my quote-unquote influence against someone. I want to be truthful, as I think it's a way to make a more positive change rather than a negative one. So that's kind of the sneak peek for what I'm going to do in the future. And looking back, I do have nostalgia for these videos. They felt somewhat theatrical to me. For example, the Avery video. It was really weird to see the entire I say community, it was like 7 or 8 people kind of just watching the video and giving their thoughts. As fuck, that felt weird. And the Drake video as well, the entire community watching it was kind of really an eye-opener for me, as I realised kind of impact I have. And even though I kind of regret some of the decisions I made, I still like the entire idea of the community coming together for one bigger thing. Even if it is against someone, and I regret that action now, I think that if the community can band together, it's just a more positive place. I do acknowledge those videos are incredibly toxic. They're a part of myself I don't really want to talk about that much, or really get into. So yes, I'll give a formal apology again. I'm sorry Daniel, I'm sorry Avery, I'm not really sorry Drake. The videos themselves are up to being a product of the times. As people do change, everyone changes, and that's probably a big part to why I hate the commentary community. So yeah, like, subscribe, bye.